So hello all, hope you guys are all well and having a lovely week. Tonight, Middlesex University Product Design Engineering and Design Engineering are excited to host the 13th talk in the annual guest lecture series. So this series runs weekly throughout the academic year on Thursday evenings, and we bring together a vibrant mix of speakers from across the full spectrum of design and engineering. So we have a mix of leading practitioners, opinion leaders, radical thinkers, and emerging talents to inspire and support your professional development. Tonight, we're delighted to host Sarath Muralidharan. He's a PVT battery launch engineer at Jaguar Landrover, and he's also a Middlesex DEMM alumni. Following his postgraduate degree at Middlesex University in 2009-2010, Sarath commenced with work across various manufacturing companies in the UK as a manufacturing engineering professional. He's got a really rich set of experiences now, with over 10 years of experience within the industry as a mid-senior engineer. He bridges between production and senior management teams to achieve key business objectives. So one of the biggest projects that Sarath has successfully managed and delivered was a 4.5 million Capex project within a manufacturing facility. And here they improved the throughput by 100% from its initial state. He currently works for Jaguar Landrover, a well-known UK automotive brand and company. And here he acts as a manufacturing engineer responsible for manufacturing related technical resolutions, problem solving. He working on improving throughput, reducing quality concerns, reducing rejects, alongside launching new models to the production lines, models such as the Jaguar Cars, the F-types, the XEs, the XFs. But recently, as part of a strategic career move, Sarath is also now working for the high voltage battery manufacturing facility within JLR as well, where he's learning about electric vehicles and the battery manufacturing process. We're delighted to host Sarath today. And for all of us, as usual, feel free to gather your thoughts. Feel free to continue putting your questions, your comments in the chat throughout the talk. If you want to go live at the end, there's an option to interact with Sarath as well, and we'll have an interactive Q&A session at the end. And without any further ado, over to Sarath with a talk titled Experience from International Student to Engineering Professional in the UK. Sarath, it's all yours.
Thank you, Ahmad. That was one of a good introduction. And thank you so much for giving this opportunity to yourself and also Mohammed. And I'm a very proud ex Middlesex University graduate, and I'm glad to see Mohammed. I see you join now. Hi there. So I won't take a long. Sorry, I thought you're saying something, but it's on mute.
That's your moment. Carry on.
All right, thank you. Right, I won't take a long time, and I think I should carry on with the slide that I've prepared pretty quick, I would say, and I have no intentions to make it boring or neither I have a how do you say this? Neither I don't feel that I have achieved enough to proudly say a lot of achievements to you all, but at least you have considered me to come and share my experience, which I'm humbled, and I should certainly be obliged to explain what I've experienced since I've been out of the Middlesex campus, if you like. Right, so my intention is to go through a bit of myself, which I can explain through, so you have a understanding where I come from and what my profile is, so you can relate with me. What was my experience or my career, my current, from where I started and where I stand today, and how did I prepare for the UK job market, which I suppose is which I'm assuming what most of you would be having in your mind, because as you are looking to finish your university and moving ahead, or looking to get into job market. And I'm more than happy to answer any question within my abilities and experience that I could to try and help. And I must also say I'm sharing my experience, not definitely a fact or something that I would claim that you have to do or follow through. Of course, you have your own sense and judgment, I'm sure, which you can use my experience that I share, or you may kindly choose your own way to proceed. So it's not a problem at all. Just sorry for a busy slide. I will just I'll just talk through my career summary. So I migrated to the UK in 2009, like Ahmed said in his introduction. I did join masters, so Middlesex University, of course, and to do masters in design engineering and manufacturing management, and that very well suited my my dreams, my interest, because I had both working experience and interest both in design and manufacturing management. So the course module was ideal for what I was looking. And it did not disappoint me at all. I completed with the merit degree, and then I passed on in 2010. I first break through my job through a KTP program. I'm not, I hope they are well known now. It's Knowledge Partnership Program, which university and a company together funded to run projects that identify improvement ideas for the company. It's a win-win situation, if you like. So the projects is overseen by university, and then you're part of the team to deliver those projects for the benefit of the company. And I've joined in Progress Rail in South Queensbury, Scotland. So for me from London, it was a travel to Scotland, a different country, and learning a new way of life, maybe, or language, or accent, if you like. Sorry, yeah. So I was in employment over now 10 years. I've worked across, yes, rail, aerospace, commercial vehicles, and now with automotive company, which I'll detail a bit later. I currently work as a launch engineer, or PVT, they call it. It's plant vehicle team engineer. At Jaguar Landrover, we manufacture batteries for our petrol hybrid vehicles. And it's a relatively very new facility, and we're all trying to learn our way to cope up with the new way forward, to reimagine ourselves in the new era, if I suppose, for manufacturing facilities, especially with sorry, I thought somebody was asking me something. Carry on and prepare for fully electric manufacturing, fully electric vehicle line for the future. The key applications that I've been involved with, and now bear in mind, this is not me alone trying to do or deliver. This was a team event in many of the projects. There were projects that I'm involved with, is to prepare production line to launch our new vehicle lines, new model years, new changes that will involve facility layout planning or industrialization, if you like. There'll be continuous improvement projects that's heavily relied upon lean manufacturing principles. There'll be process optimization projects that I've been part of. Importantly, there are problem-solving methodologies like root cause analysis, using the methodologies or tools that will guide you to correctly analyze the problem. Process mapping, data analysis. I put that there because I want to talk to you a little bit about what that importance that we have in our day-to-day manufacturing engineer's life. Technical resolutions. There will be CAD applications. There will be technical queries from downstream manufacturing that we have to address during various manufacturing build phases. And just from a bit of outside work, I just don't want to make it too specific, serious about application manufacturing, but outside the work, I live in Tamworth in West Midland region. I'm now settled in the UK since I came in 2009. I'm part of a cricket club outside work, so that's how I spend my time, and it's important to have that the recreational activities to keep you going. I'm also an investor into looking into Subway franchise and part-time, and I have a store in the UK. I also have hobbies of cooking, music, travel, and all those little things that I'm trying to find myself away. Just quickly give you an insight about my life, how career life especially. I came in 2009, 2010, as I said. I arrived in, I had my first breakthrough in Progress Rail. I just put a little picture there to make you understand that they used to make rail crossings for Network Rail. So that's a foundry in South Queensbury. And then from there, I moved to Rolls-Royce for aero engine, civil aero engine, where we made the fan blades for the air engine. And then I've moved to Hydro Systems. That company made tooling that we'll use in the manufacturing facility within Rolls-Royce, and also they do ground support equipments for aerospace industry. And then my biggest breakthrough, I would say, and my special attachment is with commercial vehicle, that company where I worked for a long period of time, which I'm saying 5 years of time, where key projects were done. They may make trailers. It's a very traditional production facility compared to others that I've been associated with. And then I moved to Jaguar Landrover, which is my multi-billion or multinational or large automotive company in the UK. One of the key projects that I've been involved with is the one that I've said earlier with Muralidharan, which is a commercial vehicle industry. It's a very traditional industry. For them to invest £4 million into their production facility to modernize it to increase their throughput was one of the key that I have been leading and be majorly involved with, which I'm very proud that what we've achieved. Yeah. So if you just look, before I go on and explain and what I've been doing or what I've been involved with, I think I should always touch base on that 3 or 4 pillars that's key. If you are walking out from university, and I'm assuming if you don't have a great amount of experience and just trying to learn, any manufacturing facility, as you can see, I've worked through different sectors. The foundation is that we can produce the products or the goods at cost, to the right quality, and deliver on them time, and of course at the safe manner is the foundation for profitability. If we don't have the right costings, as in the resource that we put in is not controlled, and if you are not efficient, obviously the cost is gonna the cost to build is gonna go high. If you don't build it to the right quality, we're gonna come back and haunt us for the rejects internally, and also warranty claims. If you don't deliver the products on time, of course we're gonna have upset customers and losing business. So that's key for a manufacturing engineer to understand, and of course people say safety, environment, they all come under the same umbrella. To me, you have to be in a safe environment, because you don't want to be in a business where it's unsafe practices, and that can also be very costly for the business. Now, keeping those pillars in mind, if you read through my application, it's all driving to achieve those pillars, if you like. So for Progress Rail, as a young, fairly naive, new graduate out, it was a right introduction for me into a production facility, and then trying to understand, to use the lean manufacturing principles to streamline our downstream processes. So basically, in simple terms, is to understand the waste, or find the fresh eye, if you like, to walk through the process from start to finish, and find all the waste that we can map through, and advise our senior management team that where I can find waste. As you know, there are different types of waste. There's transportation, inventory, motion, over-processing, over-production, reworking, etc., or defects, if you like. There's a cycle time analysis that I've done, where I can find or optimizing the process to have a better efficient way to improve our throughput. 5S methodologies to have a well-organized plant, and set out workstations to maximize efficiency and minimize risks, accidents, if you like. Design optimization. There was also upstream design projects that we did to efficient, make it easier to repeatedly task to use the CAD systems to have a grouped parts together. So you have a table, and that generates the model, and you don't have to resketch and remodel the whole part. So it was like all these little projects to try and improve the manufacturing business, and feedback to design team where we can improve our production process and have that tie between downstream and upstream in the design office, if you like, especially with scrap rate reduction, where we are over processing, we are over preparing things than or the designer wouldn't have thought about it, and that feedback would come from downstream to design office. And now if I just move from there, and now I don't know how many of you among here would have been an international candidate. I'm sure there will be a lot. It's important to just test space that during this period, it was when the visa restrictions were quite strict than what it is today. When I say quite strict, the new post-study work visa scheme were introduced during those period, and during when we passed out. It was very difficult to secure a sponsorship at that point. And that is one of the reasons where I could not continue for a long term with any business initially. And to be honest, that was a bit of difficult challenge to me, but I had to turn those challenges into a positive um, outcome. And this is what the positive outcome was, because I keep moving for that reason, but luckily I keep getting the jobs, and that keep me in the business, and that earned me experience until I could find a business that could actually award me a sponsorship. So all that was building up for me to present myself for the new company. So if you look, like I finished Progress Rail, I wouldn't have a chance there to sponsor myself for a long-term role there. So that in a way helped me to keep looking for another job, which I ended up with Rolls-Royce as a contractor. And there as a manufacturing engineer, because I had CAD skills, I could use my CAD skills to get myself introduced to model aero engine fan blades for them. And that gave me an opportunity to look into their manufacturing process, their manufacturing, right for manufacturing instructions for them. It helped me to also be part of their change management team. So any new changes come to the production or to the cell line, because you have the CAD skill, you can early predict the change, so that you can advise the team accordingly to prepare for those changes, especially with the fan blade, the profile changes. So you can predict the programming changes that needs on the machine tooling. So those will help with the skill. Sorry, those were what I've done there. One of the key projects that I've used is using measurement data, where we can predict the tool life. So at those point, the machine didn't have a tool life, so that would mean it did not detect or it did not give a warning to the operator to say it's time to change your tool. And we use the data to predict that where after X amount of cycle, we can see a deviation in the key features, and that predicted us that after X amount of machining or parts, we would not risk it. We can start changing the tool life. So that way we did not make a rejection or a mistake, and then it'll help the business or the machining cell in a efficient manner by reducing the defect, if you like. In Hydro, that's a subcontracting company. So you can see how other companies work around larger companies. So Rolls-Royce is a major aero civil manufacturer. The other companies circulate around it to supply them the tooling. So that's what Hydro basically did. They won a contract with Rolls-Royce to provide production tooling. So that will help them to assemble their large engine structure in their assembly process. So that's where your project management skills are required, along with your technical skills. They have a gated project gated series of capturing the customer requirements to an approved product delivered to their facility. So that required me to liaise with the customer, capture the requirements, confirm or transfer those requirements into technical specifications, send that to the relevant, that led us to design the concepts. sketch drawings, simple concepts, PowerPoint presentations, if you like. It doesn't have to be a full-blown 3D manufacturing data at that time, at that phase. That once approved, we go through manufacturing specifications for the manufacturer to produce the goods, the tool. And then from there, we ask for quotations. And then there's where you have to manage suppliers. That's where supply management relationship will come into play. You have to have reliable suppliers that has the capabilities to deliver the tooling in time. And then obviously approval and certifications and delivery. So that was what project management skills were. I've used mainly there along with my technical skills. Now from there I went to Muralidharan. This is where I said who were willing to sponsor me my visa. So that was a long-term commitment the business has shown to me, and I had a long-term commitment back to the business. So Muralidharan is a family-owned business up in Doncaster. They're very traditional welding, very traditional, trailer manufacturing company. So the trailers go coupled to the trucks for dry goods, and also there is cold storage that they used to build. Now, one of the key projects that I cherish is to transform basically the traditional manufacturer to I wouldn't say most modern manufacturing, but for them it was a step ahead. So we had to remodel the whole facility using mixed model assembly line. So we had a series of production products that we manufacture, and there was multiple production line they created for each model line, which was making a bit efficient, and they were all very similar process altogether. It's a similar chassis. It's just the processes goes through the same process, which is welding, fabrication, shop blast, paint, and then assembly. So it was a concept that we could mix them all together. So it's the same input, same people building, a mix of different products. It might sound simple, but it did need a bit of research and analysis behind it. And then, of course, the semi-automation of the production line, which is from traditional paint, spray paint, to automated system. Sorry, not the automated mixing of the system. It was still the same automated painting there. And mainly it was the movement of the whip or the chassis, if you like. It was automated through conveyor belt. So that eliminated a lot of transportation time and that time it took to move from station to station. So that was in a one-piece flow concept introduced for that traditional mines facility. So that itself was a game changer for them. So that allowed us actually so the bottleneck we had was on the shop blast machine and paint. That's where it took a heavily a large cycle time, and they would not be able to meet up the demand the business had. So that's where the automation played in, where we could have a good quality product in a much faster rate, and that achieved us from what they could do in a traditional mindset with traditional facility to a remodeled semi-automated facility where they could get the throughput of what they wanted to achieve. And then, of course, then after the project, I also had a great involvement with establishing a quality management system. So this is one of them important system that needs to be in place, because now we have a good facility that can produce the goods in our rate, but we need to have a good control on the quality side of things. So where we need the data, we need to know about the quality issues at the earliest so we can detect as early as possible and have containments in place, and also learn from those quality errors so we can design out from the system. So that was it involved establishing a quality control plan in place. So we have gated checks, digitizing our methods from traditional to using, for example, I'm just like a couple of them. One is Alcometer to control our paint thickness, which is the digital one, which had a a Bluetooth technology where sends the data to a central system, so we instantly know if there was a trend that we could see the paint thickness weren't adequate, because it's a trailer manufacturing industry. It goes through a heavy environment, and if it not had the required amount of paint coverage, you can have a lot of warranty claim through rusting. So it was very important, and that we control the paint thickness there. And torque data, which is very important, that we are fixing the fixings into the right required amount of torque, so we don't have any loose fixings going out of the production facility. That can be a bit catastrophic if it happened. So all the critical things were digitized. So it's where we use technologies now to have to help their quality, or improve their quality, or elevate their quality. Digitizing daily quality report, because we all sit and rely a lot on data. Data is king. Where decision making is easier if you have it all ready. So heavy amount of time people spend making reports. So where we used IT support, where the data comes from shop floor, updated every time as a vehicle passes through an inspection process, so they don't need to transfer them into a pen and paper method, into a more scanned automated system, where the computer sends the information to the office, and we can react pretty quickly. And also we use these data to run our Kaizen projects to continuously improve. So we want to identify where we are going wrong in terms of quality or throughput, and run projects to quickly mitigate it. And then, of course, takt time management, cycle time analysis, establishing how many workstations we need, how many people we should be allocating, what is the time it takes to build, in each cycle, because over the time things can get a bit it needs to be recalibrated, so we understand exactly how long it takes to make our product, so we can predict, and it will help our production planning team to allocate the resource, and then also commit to our customers how quickly and how consistently we can deliver them on time. Well, the next phase was big for the business, and this is where we started looking into some case studies, where we can go away from the next step is from bolt to bolt-on modular assembly, where we want to slightly get away from welding process to modular assembly. So it's very hard to get skilled welders. It takes an amount of training time, and also it can be a bit slow with the manual welding. If we went to bolt-on assembly, it's much faster, quicker. We can control quality easier. And also we can't completely eliminate welding. Wherever we need welding, we can automate them if it was a small size, or that we can put into a robotic cell. We of course look into software to automate our quality management system. So we don't even want human intervention to report. Would it be automatic, that as the parts go through the production line, can it detect an error? Can camera scanning systems can detect an error, and then inform us, or does that link with the production line, so it stops, and we can act. So it's swifter and faster than taking the time for someone to report us and then react to a problem. We were also looking to establish scanning barcode for WIP tracking. So that's one of the key area where how many goods we have, how many are there in the production line. So we have like a digital factory, a visual mesh system, that we know where our products are and where the bottlenecks would be. Pretty quick, without getting into the numbers. Visually, it's there on the production line, and we can react. So these were a very ambitious next step. But that's where I have to start thinking about myself at some point. So where I would have continued there, but that would take me a long time. So now I have to think from a commercial vehicle, which is a family-owned business. Now that was my strategy, to move with that experience to an automotive sector, which is already has gone to those levels that I've just discussed at Montreux, and how their way of work is It's important for me. I didn't have the automotive experience before, and I didn't work in a large scale, fast moving environment, and my expertise there, or the challenges there is unknown to me until I joined Jaguar Landrover. That's a different aspect altogether. They already have advanced manufacturing methodologies in place, so they don't need any new, or they would need, but from this role that I've been involved with, they would need that from me, and they need my problem solving abilities. The technical subject matter expertise. You're not subject matter expert in everything, but get into there quickly, hit the ground, and start learning about the production process and the methodologies that we use, involved with the problems that involve in the production line, and then run problem investigation, have the containment in place first, then they work through the root cause and have the permanent corrective action, because these can be very expensive if we don't be on the game straight away. And also, of course, there's launch activities where we have new model years. It's an automotive sector, as you can imagine. People would want a new model coming through every 3 or 4 years. So you will be supporting trial runs, pilot operations. We raise issues at that point, liaise with the engineering team to resolve those issues, try to change the design to suit our manufacturing facility, to resolve any ergonomic issues. So I've been involved with glazing process, adhesives, trim and final, where we fit parts to F-type. That's where I've been heavily involved with, where we create a sports car, fit the bumper, headlamps, dashboard, seats, tires, all the external after paint process I get involved with. And then, as I said earlier, maybe in the introduction, Ahmed mentioned, the car industries, as you like, all moving, reimagining phase there now. They're all trying to go after the electrification, which is rightly sensible decision. But having said that, it's not very clear, is battery or is there any other technology to come for? At the moment, as it stands, it's petrol hybrid that the Jaguar Landrover is focused on, and that's where we make a batteries for the petrol hybrid. Maybe I'm not the best person, but I'm sure in coming years technology can change pretty quick. It could be something else. It may be not even battery, but there is always that adaptability required in the engineers and the industry that we have to quickly change, and it can be challenging at times, but you have to quickly adapt to those changes and be a subject matter expert on the run. So there's no expectation that you would know everything, but there's a willingness to learn, and there's a collaboration there with the technology experts to learn yourself to these challenges. So sorry, I hope I didn't bore you all to death. I'll quickly go to how did I prepare. I think I was expecting this to be more two-way if you can, but if I just may summarize myself there, especially turning the clock back 10 years ago, it was really hard. You finish the university, it can be a roller coaster ride, thinking about the future, maybe not confident on many things. You can get into rejections, and you have to take it in the positive manner. It's a stepping stone. So count your rejections more than acceptance, because the more I got rejected, it more helped me to keep focusing back and learn and try different ways to break through. So it's very good to keep having to receive some rejections when you try to find a job. Now I can't remember this, but definitely from Middlesex University. I think somebody had pointed this out to me, that find out your selling points. You need to know, you should be a good seller. You need to know about you as a product, and then try to see what are the unique things in you have. Not necessarily it will be a technical skill that you're looking for. It can be a soft skill, that you have a good adaptability. You're very strong mentally, or you could be anything, so find those key skills that makes you unique, and make you feel that you're different from the crowd. Work on your communication skill, and I didn't mean English communication skill. Of course, it's important, but it's your body language. It's important, and I know we live in a different world now, where it's remote working and all that, but still, it's in the manufacturing environment, you're going to deal with a lot of people, and it's important that these body languages and skills are important in that environment. Do extensive research on the company, necessarily not for the job, but just in out of interest. It'll keep you very much up to date about the industry and where the people are going, and try to know a little bit about your audience or your interviewer if you're attending an interview. I didn't mean to sneak through their Facebook profile or anything, but what I mean is they look into their LinkedIn profile probably, or try to Google their name and see if there are any topics that they have been specialized in. So very well that who you're talking to. Some of the key tips, as I said in the beginning, I don't mean these are all, hard and fast rule, and if you follow all this, you'll end up in a job. No, these are all things that I've tried, and it might have helped me in some way or the other. So I'm just sharing what all things I did. Of course, you have to have an open approach, which I did in 2009. I was open to go anywhere in the UK. I didn't have a family at that point. I was single, so it was very well, helped me to have that open approach. Location weren't a problem for me. I would travel anywhere in the UK for a job, and I was targeting manufacturing sectors, and I knew that's where I need to go to, and that's where my interest is. So. And that reason, not many companies are there in London, of course, in the city. So you're expected to go to other parts of the cities of the country. Portfolio, not CV. What I mean is to have a good detail, one-pager explanation about the projects that you were involved, including university one. And any previous one, so pictures can speak million words for yourself. So at least it will trigger a lot of questions, and you can try and explain. So it will be easy, and the audience or the interviewer would know what you've been involved with, and even in the recruitment agency would understand what you were meaning involved. So they land up or try to guide you to the right area. And profile creation, of course, I'm sure you don't have to tell you this, but you would know by this time. You would have created a CV library, job site profile. You should also have a LinkedIn one. So there's a lot of job opportunities come through LinkedIn. And any other job sites, should create a profile and make sure you update them regularly. Professional networking, very important, that join portals. If not, create a portal within your team. If you don't know, all the ex-students can create a portal. I've been part of a WhatsApp group from my previous colleagues, batchmates back in India, where I did my basic education. And they create a WhatsApp group in the UK for the students and the professionals in the UK. So it's really good to know the openings and other networking, discussion, and help each other, look after each other, if you like. Update on latest industry updates, check the national economic policies, because they all have an impact in the way of our life and work style. So you all know UK is committed to for zero emission or net zero, hence why most of the industries are targeting to go to heavily invest in green energy. So these are creating new opportunities and new jobs. So look out for them. I'm sure there will be a lot of green energy initiatives coming through, so that will create a new sector to pursue. I still believe there's KTP projects. It's been a while I've looked into it, but look into those ones. They're good. That will give you a good starting point, and use your, still use your graduate or your previous university experience and then work through to for a company to have a project. And also if you wish to pursue into a PhD or higher education level, you can use these projects in your favor to prepare for higher roles, higher academic route, if that's where you want to proceed. So it gives you both opportunities. Now, this is something I've also tried. I did not succeed a lot, but I would still do that direct company approach. Keep looking through all the manufacturing companies or any companies that you wish to come, and they might not be recruiting at that point, but try and write a very professional email and have a speculative, be an agent or a job, agent by yourself, for yourself, working for yourself, if you like, and try and build up that confidence to go and speak to them and say what you are good with, and see if you can find a job, for them, or even offer, improvement activities or things that you can do if they allow you an opportunity. Not, it's seventh in my list, so I'm not saying it will work, but if it work, there's no reason why it won't. There will be one manager or somebody who can understand where you're coming from that approach. Join webinars and other forums. There are a lot of new companies that is doing and selling them to attract new talents. So that's a good opportunity to know about those companies. Prepare job application, modify your CV so to be very careful. What I mean there is not to tweak your CV to say what you are not. No, understand the job profile and see what they are looking for, and see what you have in your background, and then portray it. And so you might have to tweak your CV to highlight those skills. So you can't have one generic CV for any job that you apply, obviously. So you have to keep retweaking your CV a bit to so that you get the right word across, and they can, or whoever filtering through can understand, can highlight or can see those CV from the crowd. And that's it. Finally, I don't know who said this, but I totally believe this. The more harder I work, the more luckier I got. And it's just not a quote, it's true. Every time I've worked really hard, I might not have succeeded in that interview, but something else followed through, or a project. I might have a one bad instant, but I work harder. Something luckier might happen, so you'll be in the right time, in the right place. Things will follow through. And that's it. I'm sorry if it has bored you, but if not, I hope if there's something of that interested you, or you found it good, please feel to ask me any questions.
Amazing. Sarath, no need to be sorry. That was a really interesting overview of yourself, your career, your experience, and preparations for the UK job market as well. What I really enjoyed was to listen and hear about your really rich experience across the different sectors, the rail, the aerospace tooling, commercial vehicles. And I like the kind of case studies and key methodologies you identified as well. That was brilliant. Thanks a lot. And as Professor Mehmet has listed in the chat, he's kind of concurred and agreed with your point on KTPs, that KTPs are a great start for any graduate in any discipline. And Mehmet's link to the ktp-uk.org website there as well for you guys to check out. For all of the students and participants, of course, as usual, if you want to continue to gather your thoughts and questions and comments in the chat, feel free to do that. We're going to have Q&A now. If you want to go live and talk to Sarath as well, feel free to do that. Just put a request through in the chat. The first question from Tony Smith, who's joining us from Norway today. Tony, he's asking you, Sarath, do you think that the job that you were doing for Progress Rail and the job that the role that you undertook at Rolls-Royce was similar, or were they different? And if they weren't the same, what do you think the most significant differences were in those two roles?
Well, firstly, they're two different sectors and two different products. They were similar. The one with Progress Rail is through KTP that we just mentioned about. So it was more an academic, insight, and there is more emphasis on having a detailed research and analysis, and mainly that that role allowed us for me to look in that look into a production facility in that aspect as a student, if you like. So it was more about lean manufacturing, using the methodologies, going by the method to identify and help the business to work through. Now, when you talk about Rolls-Royce that I did, it was a different. And now you're not a student, or you are not there for a research project. You're more on day one, hit the ground and deliver. So there's a bit more pressure. Doesn't mean that KTP did not have pressure. It had a pressure. It's a different one. It's more research project. So you are supported by universities. You are supported by people, and you're quite you're nurtured, and it is part of that growth. But for Rolls-Royce, it's different. You are hired there as a contractor to deliver a project. So you have to be pretty quick, professional. On day one onwards, you have to start thinking of the timeline and the deliverables and deliver. So it was different, and of course the product was different. One was the foundry, there was more casting, and the other was more fan blade, which involved not just castings, more hot working and cold machining and cold working involved. So in that aspect also it was different. Yeah, hope that answers your question, Tony.
Amazing. Thanks a lot, Sarath. And Tony's asking another question as well, following up on that. Do you think a lot of the advice that you gave in terms of securing and getting a job in the UK applies for international jobs as well?
I didn't quite understood your question, Tony. There, do you mean the advice on getting the job in the applies for international job as well? Well, if I understood this correctly, you're trying to ask me if the same policies or principles or methods, if you want to call it, does that apply globally? Well, it will. It's a same scenario everywhere, I believe. I come from India. I haven't applied a lot. I haven't experienced the job application process in India. But if today, if I have to go back and apply, I would have used the same approach. I consider, or we all have to consider ourselves as a how do you say, as a consultant and expertise ourselves, and then work on your knowledge and then try and sell that to the company, and that's very important, and that's the same approach I would have taken anywhere if I have to go in this world and apply for a job.
Amazing. And Irene Gallagher, she's asking a question related to the interview process and any kind of aptitude test. So do you have any experience doing any personality or aptitude tests before interviews? And if you do, can you give any advice or any pointers about them?
Right. The psychometric test, I'm not an expert to advise on you that, but they are based on your psychometry, your thinking, your abilities. So it's very hard for me to say there is a set pattern to pass these. The most interviews I've been part of were more direct face-to-face interview, which mainly focused you around your personality, your technical skills, and your soft skills. So it was more that kind of approach. Now I know many companies do a psychometric test and an aptitude test, which is kind of filtering the best in the crowd. So that's really good as well. So I haven't faced, but I know there are companies like McLaren, for instance. They had a different interview process, which is quite interesting. So they had a question answer sessions. So you answer, and these are not something you can Google and answer. So these are more subject related question where you need to know the calculations to answer it, especially regarding production line rate and takt time and management. And then it followed through a video question where you explain about a topic. So they analyze you about your personality and the way you speak, and then they filter it through to the final interview. So that those are another way of interview as well. So I forgot the question, Tom. It's the psychometric test that you're asking. Um, Practice. There are websites that you can buy and do psychometric tests for the various patterns. I think that will make you better, I'm sure. But me personally, I didn't have to luckily go through that. I know it is quite a challenging one, to be honest.
Amazing. Yeah, no, definitely. Irene, when Jess from GradCrack came in as well, she was also highlighting, some of the psychometric tests. As Sarath has also mentioned, there's, practice tests online. And again, you can liaise with others who have done those before, or can read responses on blogs in terms of those who have undertaken similar kind of tests. You can also practice these and talk to others who are more familiar with them as well. So thanks for your question, Irene. A question coming through from Hika Duwagi he's saying that he's a professional sports player, plays badminton alongside being a mechatronics student, and he's asking whether he should kind of use that professional sports person and kind of place that in his CV.
Nothing wrong, I would say, because I don't know where you intend to. Your personalities are very important. If you're a sports person, you're very highly spirited team player. I would use those skills that I would use in a badminton court to have that same spirit in the office, in the team. I don't mean to be aggressive. What I mean to say is that spirit of team, that ability or that power to face through a challenge, the sportsmanship. So these are very important. So I don't think there's any harm in mentioning in your hobbies and things. So these will reflect your personality, and the interviewer can understand, and you can also so reflect that in your way you answer. So you should definitely. I always put my hobbies, my cricket or music or passion. I always put in my CV. But maybe you don't discuss a lot. Maybe sometimes some interviewers tend to notice and ask the questions about it. So it's good to have. I would definitely put them.
No, 100%. I totally agree. So it's a great point to actually include, I think, both in terms of what Sarath has mentioned, showing that you're, like you have drive, you have ambition, you're a good team player, you got the kind of the sport kind of acumen there. But again, it just adds another kind of personality dimension to it as well. Like, and it's a nice conversation starter as well, break the ice, and yeah, so it's a nice way in. And within that particular interview process. A few questions coming in terms of transferable skills and your time at Middlesex University. So what transferable skills from design engineering and manufacturing management did you take into the industry?
Well, that's a really good question. Like, it's the research ability, Now, I don't know if this shocks everyone or not. It's not the topics that you learned. It's the way you've learned to do your research, the details that you put behind analyzing or learning a module, or for instance, or a technology, for instance. The project that we did during our Middlesex University was very important for me, because that played a great role later on, because working in a team environment, how you select the design ideas when you have conflict, too many people or 3 or 4 people together. So how do you use a design selection metrics? So these have worked in my favor when I or I have to transfer these skills into my work life at a later point, especially how you approach if you want to learn something new, and how would you approach the research behind it? What are the sources you would look for? How would you use the Google key? I know everybody Googles, but how do you get the authentic information from Google, and how do you use that in your favor? So all this research skills, the ability to collaborate with people, how to conduct yourself in a project, how do you make a decision, how do you use the data, all that has helped, or it's all transferable skills. And importantly, your mindset from a university is important, when you work in a big professional companies. It will certainly, these are all transferable.
Amazing. And in terms of, you mentioned several key methodologies in one of the slides. The question is, what are some of your favorite or most applied engineering or management methods?
Mixed model assembly line. I really like it. It fascinates me. It's very difficult to put, if you'll imagine in simple term, say 3 or 4 products that you see. I can't quickly tell you what, because I don't want to mislead you when I say something, but imagine you can make 3 or 4 different types of products. They look different, but they go through same process, and you can make them all in a production line. It's a really like a jigsaw puzzle. It's a challenge, and it excites me because you have to work around design, you have to work around the facility, you have to think about the suiting the products to fit into that process line. So that excites me in that aspect. So lean manufacturing is really is simple. It's anybody can follow kind of a thing. And also, if manufacturing, I look at it in a very simple manner. You can learn this from a fast food restaurant. If you look into a McDonald's, you know that you will get a sandwich if in a 2 minutes time, because they have the process set. And that excites me. That is manufacturing engineering or management, if you like. So because that consistency, the product that will get to you in the right time, in the right consistency, or you like it or not, that product is consistently delivered to you, and there is a methodology or the process that is lined across to suit that time. So the moment you give an order to the receiving, so that is excites. So if I can set up a production line or a facility, that is management, manufacturing management for me, and that's what excites me.
That's amazing. And in terms of most of our participants tonight are second year or final year design engineering or product design engineering students. And again, talking about your postgraduate experience at Middlesex University, questions coming through in terms of what was your experience like at Middlesex University and the design engineering postgraduate course?
Right. So my experience was very positive. I was really glad that I could get into that course. As I said, it excites me because it had both elements. So it has best of both worlds, if you like. So it had design engineering. It's not going too away from design engineering, and neither I'm too far away from manufacturing management. So it taught me both, and I could make a decision where I wanted to go, or if I can use both. Now, after this experience, what I think is I should be able to use both, because that's important for a manufacturing engineer. I have the design abilities. I can design a tooling if I have to. I can design that myself. I know how to use a CAD package. I can interpret drawing. So that's very important for a manufacturing engineer, because I see a lot of manufacturing engineers today struggle because they don't have the design abilities. And so the department struggles and they have to outsource the design to somewhere else. So having this both is very important. So sorry, the experience in Middlesex University, if you look at the course module, great. If you look at the facility at that point, I don't think that campus exists anymore. Mohammed would be able to remind us all, but that was.
We're no longer at Turn Park, but we have better facilities at Hendon.
Hendon, yes. So I wasn't lucky. Yeah, wasn't lucky to be at Hendon, but it was very, you had different people learning together. So we were focused on design engineering, manufacturing management, but I still remember there were students from automation, from mechatronics, I believe, robotics. Yeah, there used to be a robotic world championship. So these all excited me, because it's not your forte or your area, but still you get to see all these great little things happening around. And it was a really happy. If I wished I could go back 10 years and stay as a student, that's how I see it now. It was a really good time, and life has changed a lot in the decades.
Amazing, really positive, fond memories there, Sarath. And the final few questions, Sarath, and I guess I'll ask these together to kind of conclude the session. The first of the two questions is, where do you see the future of the automotive industry? And the second is, do you find the infrastructure in the UK is ready to roll out e-vehicles?
Right, good question that. Bear in mind, I like to speak about it, but my expertise and knowledge is still, I'm really humble. But I see the world will change pretty quick towards the electrification or green energy, let's say it that way. Necessarily not battery technology that we see today. It could be multi-technology. So if there are mixed response. If you look at the UK or automotive sector, many of them have achieved electrification through battery technology. Some of them have not gone fully electric. They still stick to petrol hybrid and then also hydrogen cells. So it's not every, for example, Toyota is a bigger manufacturer. They haven't completely switched to electric, though they have the electric line. They still stick to other technology. So it's a wait and see game for automotive to see which way it's going. But UK manufacturers have fully embraced the electrification. They're making the judgment as the headwinds towards electrification. All the product life cycle would be a fully electric vehicle in next 5 years or 5 to 10 years. Sorry, it's not hybrid anymore. It's fully electric vehicle. The facilities, would they be able to cope up? That will be possible. All the engine manufacturing plant could be turned into a battery manufacturing plant. So that could be one of the area where batteries are made in-house. So these are very difficult to get outsourced, or it can be relied on a supplier to be outsourced, but most manufacturers prefer to have that built in-house, so they have better flexibility. And then yes, definitely, it's a UK automotive. Of course, if we have to survive, you have to be able to change pretty quick and be there first rather than last. Have the races that, that's what sets you to sustain and succeed. So everybody will be in a race to get there, ready there with the technologies matured. So a lot of work behind in development and testing that's going on. So that's where I see maybe the only thing is I can't definitely see or sit here and say it will be battery technology. That's still and the battery technology is also changing. For instance, if what we use now is a cell, we buy it from Samsung and we put them all together. It's that simple, that's how they make the battery or power the battery. They put all the cells together to make modules and put them all together in the pack to create the power that needs for that vehicle. And that cell can change into lattice cells, like the one you see in your mobile phones, a bigger one of us. So the technology can change, and that will change something to something else. So it's all about preparedness for the change. And I think automotive they've gone through this all many decades now. So they're all equipped. The DNA is there to change pretty quick and switch the production line any way they want. So this is where one of the key facility or the concepts. You wouldn't have hard installation. You need to have a quick ability to change production line pretty quick. So you wouldn't have too much of foundation drilled in equipments. I feel like it needs to be ability to switch pretty quick. So everything will be bolt on, take it away, and put a new kit in kind of concept, if you like. Yeah, sorry if I hope I answered your question there.
That's perfect. Thanks a lot, Sarath. And I guess this with no more questions in the chat as well. So Sarath, take this opportunity to thank you for your time and joining us tonight. It was a brilliant talk in the Q&A from all of us at Middlesex University Design Engineering, Product Design Engineering, we thank you for both your time and the talk.
No, thank you so much for giving this opportunity. I'm so humbled to consider you, for you considering me. It's good enough to give a talk to you all. So thank you.
That's amazing. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Sarath.
And for all of the students, participants, Sarath's details were sent to your emails ahead of the talk as well, including links to his LinkedIn. So definitely feel free to browse and connect. And to conclude, guys, keep an eye out on your emails for the details of the speaker and the links to the next talk. So until next week, stay well, stay safe, and thank you, guys.
Excellent.